We got another Honda in the shop. This is a 2006 Rancher 350 ES. It's got the electric shift on her. It's actually one of our gas well quads that we use to rip around and change charts and stuff like that. So we're just basically today we're going to be doing a complete maintenance check on it. So we're going to change the oil, engine oil, transmission oil, which is the same, and then the rear end. We're going to change the rear end fluid, front end fluid, check the air box, see how the air filter is looking, change the spark plug. So it's all going to be in on this video, but we're going to start off going with the oil change. Okay, to get the job started, we need parts and tools, I guess. So parts, we need oil, genuine Honda oil. Okay, we got that from the dealer. New filter. There's the number if you need that. And then we just need a drain pan to put the old oil. And here are the tools. You just need a 17 mil to get up in there to get the drain plug out, and then a 8 millimeter, and that's going to help you get the oil filter cover off to change the filter out. And that's it. So let's get the quad warmed up, and then we'll start changing this oil. So she fires up pretty darn easily, and she's warmed up. So now we're going to crawl underneath, and we're going to find out where the drain plug is. So you're looking at all these holes, all the mud hanging out of them, and you're going to look for this big one right here. And there is the 17 millimeter. So make sure if you can, try to get this cleaned out as much as you can around it, and then we'll start draining the oil out. Plug back in and just hand tight. Don't need to He-Man it. Now we got to get the filter out right here. So here's the dipstick to check the oil, and we got to get the filter out. So they're 8 millimeter. Loosen them up. Probably get some oil, so make sure your drain pan is underneath it. Might make a little bit of a mess here, so be careful. See it coming out a little bit. There we go. Okay, take that off. Here's the filter. Get this out of the way. Whoa. Alright, so you can see in there you got a spring. Make sure that spring stays in there, or if it does come out, just make sure you don't lose it. Check this O-ring on this guy. Make sure it's in good shape. You can clean everything up in here. We'll clean that up a little bit. And then also on the cap, I started cleaning up a little bit, but you can make sure that this is clear, nothing's clogged up in here. You can just blow through it. But yep, and make sure that O-ring is in good shape as well. And if it's not, stop the job, go and get another O-ring for if you need them. Replace them now, because again, you'll make more of a mess if you put it all back together and just go and replace this later. So, okay. Let's keep moving. Okay, right here we can see you can't put this on, well you can, but it even tells you which side. Let's see, you'll get away from the light. Towards the engine, okay? Says outside towards the filter cover, okay? So just make sure you put it in the correct way right here. And then we'll get the cover on it. snug it, hold it. And after we're done tightening these up, we'll clean all this up with some brake cleaner. It's not the best shaped quad in the world, but you still want to keep it as clean as possible. And these do have a torque spec. I'm not exactly sure what they are. Just they're not very big bolts, so don't tighten down. That's why I always use 1/4 inch on these things, so you don't get nearly as much leverage on it, and just hand tighten them. There you go. Okay, we'll go on the other side. Like I said, this is the dipstick on this side. The other side we have to fill. Okay, we're on this side of the machine for the fill. These quads take a little bit over 2 quarts. So we're going to put 2 quarts in, check the level, and then we have 1 more quart extra and we'll just top it off. All right, I got the oil topped off. We're not quite topped off. We're definitely on the stick. We're going to fire it up, let it warm up again, then make sure that the oil level is correct. So we got the oil change done on the engine. Now we're going to do the rear end and the front end. This one's actually it's a little bit different, but pretty easy job to do. You only need a couple tools here too. Now there's 17 mil. That's to get the fill plug off. You need a 12 mil. That's going to get the skid plate off, just to make things a lot easier. Then you have a 10 mil. That gets you the drain plug and then the fill level plug out. You need some oil. We're running Kawasaki stuff because it's okay. 80W90, just make sure it's that hypoid. That's what you need. So let's jump into this one. Get this done too. We can use it for the front and the rear. Okay, so this quad's pretty dirty. Even though I washed it, it doesn't look like I did. We got to get this off. We're going to clean this off before I even try to get it off, but we want to get the skid plate off, and then I can clean underneath that as well. So we need a 12 millimeter. If I'm not mistaken, there's only 3 bolts that underneath that hold it up. So let's see if we can't get these off. Okay, so 3 bolts are off, and just completely full of mud, which is normal on these things. There is an access hole right here. Let's see if we can get it better. There is an access hole that you should be able to get your 10 mil in here, but when you drain it, honestly, being that it's full of mud, it's just going to fill this whole thing up with gear oil. So if you can, just take this off. We got 1 bolt here, 1 up front, and then you have another one on this side. Takes a couple minutes. Take it off, we'll clean this out, and we're gonna clean up underneath the bottom here, clean this whole diff up actually, just clean it up, and then we'll start tearing it apart. Okay, so I hosed that off with some brake clean. But before you drain it, you want to make sure you can get at least this guy out. I mean, it'd still be kind of hard to fill it, but you could technically fill it through here until it started coming out a little bit. But what we're going to do first is try to get this guy out. And if he's good, then we'll come up here and get this one off. So again, 10 mil. Oh, that wasn't even tight. Okay, so it's loose. We can just leave it like that for now. We'll come up top. 17 up top. Oh, there we go. Okay. Not too bad. Okay, so yeah, again, you always want to get at least this guy out. Because if you can't get this out, but you can get this off, you're not going to know where your oil level is. So if I was you, make sure you get this one. It even says right here, oil check bolt. So, all right. Since I got those 2 loose, we're going to take this out completely. Block the camera, because that's what I'm good at doing. Okay. since we got this out completely, it's not leaking out, so it might be a little bit low on oil, which is good because that's what we're doing today, changing it. Since it's out, now we're going to go underneath and drain it. Okay, so once you have both the fuel plug and the gauge plug, I guess you'd call it, you have them loose. Now make sure you have a drain pan, but again, you want to make sure those other two are loose first, and then we can get this guy off. So let's move the drain pan out of the way real quick so I can get in here and block the camera angle with my hands. Alright, let's see. There we go. Whoop, hit the camera. Okay, now she's loose. There we go. This guy back in. And let her drain. Drained out, and it looked good from my eye. Didn't look like we had any water or anything like that in the diff, which is really good. So I'm just going to tighten this back up. Yeah, and just kind of hand tight. You don't need to go He-Man on the thing. Okay, it's good. Now, since we loosened this up top and this is out to let it drain a little easier, we're going to take this top one off. We're going to slowly fill it up. You can use the bottle. I got a pump. I'm just going to pump it in, but you can use the bottle and just dump it in and slowly do it because it's gear oil, so it's pretty thick. But just wait until it starts coming out of the check hole here. So yeah, let's do that. Oil is all drained out. We have the check bolt out and the top cover out as well to fill it up. Now I'm going to use my pump, so we're going to slowly pump the gear oil in until it starts running out of that guy. Might take a little bit, just take your time, because if you pump it too fast or pour it in too fast, you might actually overfill it. Then you're going to just wait forever for that to start. You want it just to start dripping out. Okay, so the oil is just running out of it. So we're going to put the check bolt back in, tighten it down. Okay, and now we got to put the cap back on. Just make sure this O-ring that's on it, make sure it's in good shape. No rips or tears. This one looks good, so we're just going to put it back in and tighten it down as well. Last thing to do is clean that skid plate up and put the skid plate back on. So you don't need to watch me do that, but go tight. That's it. Now we'll go to the front end. Same tools doing the front end as you do the rear end. 10 millimeter, I recommend running 1/4 inch drive. It's easier to get up in there. It's a little tight. And then you need your 17 mil to get the, oh, it's windy out tonight. 17 mil, get the fill plug off. I'd also run, this is just how I'm going to probably do it, is that they get a little tight. And it's easier to get an extension on here and make a little bit of a cheater pipe. Break that loose. Here's your oil and your drain pan. That's about it. So let's fill her up and then we'll run in to see how bad this air filter is. I'm kind of excited to see it. Okay, so we got to get our 17 in here. It's a little bit of a tight fit. I don't know if I can get it. Oh, I did. All right, I didn't need the cheater. Okay, again, set it the same as the back. Do the front. Make sure you get this guy at least loose or out first, and then go underneath and we get the drain plug out. So it's loose. We'll go underneath and show you where the drain plug is at. Crawling underneath, and I don't know if you can even see it. It's kind of hard. Where's it at? Where's it at? There it is. There it is. It's kind of hard to see. My camera skills are not very good. Either way, you can see it. It's right in here. Okay, so you can go up through this guy. It is a little tight. This quad's been kind of beat on, so that's why not a big fan, is because this hole isn't quite big enough to get your 3/8 drive snugly up in there. So that's why I run the 1/4 inch. I can get up in there pretty easily. But hitting rocks and trees and brush and stuff bends this up a little bit, and then you can't even get to that plug. Either way, no more BSing. We'll get this out of here and start draining it. Well, I completely blocked the camera putting the drain plug back in, but you can do that. Put the drain plug back in whenever it's drained. And now, if you can get your own bottle in here, great. But again, I got this hose and a pump, and we're going to pump it in until it's right on the bottom of the threads. Take your time. Again, this stuff is pretty thick. Now the oils are changed. Wonderful. Now we got the last 2 little steps. Spark plug changed out. Let's see if we can get this thing off without busting my hand. Okay. Looks like this thing's kind of rusty. Quad doesn't really go in a garage. Kind of stays in the back of these trucks or whatnot. Okay. Takes an 18 mil. And then the gap is 36 thou. So here's the old one. See if it'll focus, probably not. Whatever. There's the new one. Again, 36 thou. Make sure you can double check it. There's a part number on it. NGK. It's the way to go. 70A. No, got it. Okay, let's throw this one in there. Okay, last thing we need to do before I go inside and eat some dinner is check the air filter. Mouse was in here at one point in time. Alright, let's get this thing out of here and replace it too. Alright, so we got the new OEM filter. I need a Phillips head. Take this guy off. Whoa. Well, we might have more of an issue than that. Alright. I'm going to look at it, but this thing's like full of gas. So, uh-oh. I'm going to figure out what's going on. Alright, so this thing's completely full of like gas and crap, so that's kind of sucks. But I can take this guy off. Stinks. I busted my finger up pretty good the other day. I can't use it, so that kind of makes life a little more difficult when you can't use your pointer finger. Touch anything, you want to cry. Stay. Alright. So you know what? I'm gonna go wash my hands so we don't dirty up the brand new filter and put it on here. Well, that was one long video. If you guys actually hung out the whole time or watched the whole thing, God bless you, really. Either way, the quad is done. Oil change is done. Front end fluid change done. Rear end done. New spark plug and new air filter. Now, it definitely had some gas and stuff in that air filter, so might turn into tearing the carburetor down and cleaning it and make sure it's good. Seems to run all right. It's just maybe it's the float's sticking a little bit. I'm not sure. I'll talk to him. Maybe he flipped it. Who even knows? Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, don't be afraid to ask. All right, guys. God bless.